Vlad.
Morning, fellow Toastmasters. Yes, and good seeing you again, Steve. How many people here, on the topic of communication, how many people here have a website, a blog, or write some sort of content for the web? It's a communicative group, so I guess that would be expected. How many people here have used or expect to use, say in the next week, Google? So we're not alone. There's about 200 million people, 200 million searches per day on Google. So if you look at the internet or you use the internet, you really can't ignore the impact that Google has had on our lives or on the internet in general. So one of the things I want to talk about is just kind of the basics of Google, because if you're a business owner, you have some sort of nonprofit that you're helping, or you have some sort of message you're trying to get out to the world, and you're trying to reach them through the internet, Google is probably one of the most important ways that people will find your site. It's also one of the most important ways that we find information that we're looking for. So I want to talk about just a bit about basics of how Google works. I mean, they're not going to go into all of the mechanics, but I thought this was interesting, so I maintain a couple websites. I've had to learn some of the ins and outs of Google from the producer's perspective, and also use Google every day from a consumer's perspective, typing in search terms. So I want to give you a little handout, because there's not an easy way for me to really show you Google in action. But some of the couple things I wanted to point out was, in Google, there are two basic types of results that you get. If you type something into your search engine within Google, you're going to get some of these, what we call the natural links, just little text links to other websites and pages that happen from Google's natural index. And then some of the sponsored links. So when you, suppose you wanted to look up some information on public speaking, you type in public speaking, let Google do its magic, and it comes back with just a bunch of text links taking you to a bunch of pages. I'm sure everybody has seen this if you've used Google. And for this, the two founders of Google are tied for being the 5th richest men in the United States. Type a little term in, boom, they give you back a bunch of links, and they're multi-billionaires. So it's kind of a geek Cinderella story. So I want to talk about some of the stuff that goes on behind this. So the natural links and the sponsored links. Well, first let's talk about the natural links. And to really understand how all that works, I need to talk a little bit about how the web works, because these two geeks in a garage started out at Stanford University and made their millions with a very simple idea of how do you get all the billions and billions of pages that are out there on the internet, how do you make them reachable and findable for the average person, just typing in a simple search term, letting Google do its magic. So the basics of the web, I'm sure if anybody who has made a web page, written a web page, or read a web page and followed the links is, say you've got page A. Within the content of page A, you have a link to page B. Or maybe you have a link to page C. C maybe links to D, so on and so forth. Hence we call it the World Wide Web. Well, the basic concept, one of the core pieces of the magic of Google is you have a web, they have little pieces of software called spiders that, quote unquote, spider the web. See, that's a spider right there. And these spiders follow all the little links in the web. So a nice little geek play on words. And they index or spider all of the web pages that are out there. So to get your web page accessible to the world, or to get it indexed and cataloged within Google, all you really have to do is make sure that somebody's page links to your page, and Google's spiders, They're always chugging along 24 hours a day with the millions and millions of gigabytes of power behind their computers, going through and indexing the entire web. And they catalog all of these websites. So very simple idea that they came up with is that if I've got a web page that links to another web page, I will treat that as a vote. So web page A, because it links to web page B, is voting for web page B. Web page A that links to web page C is voting for web page C. So it's a page by page, not a website by website analysis. But every vote is not necessarily the same. They then rank the importance of different pages by how many links are coming into each of those pages, and also the quote-unquote importance of that particular page. So suppose website A is the front page or the first page of the New York Times. That's going to have a lot more link juice or a lot more weight in their vote than, say, Vlad's little personal homepage linking to your website. So these brainiacs at Stanford, Sergey Brin and Larry Page, came up with this concept and published some papers. Actually, Stanford owns the patents on the concept of PageRank that does this calculation of checking link by link, spidering the web, and giving different relevance and rank to each one of these web pages. So when you type in your search term within Google, it checks that search term against how relevant the certain page is, times the rank or importance of that page to give you the ranking of the different little links that you have on your Google search terms. So if you write a lot of content, get a lot of people linking to your page, you'll get high rankings within Google search. If you didn't want to go through that effort, the other part is sponsored links, where essentially people are paying per click to come up for a particular search term. So some of these people wanted to come up for public speaking, and they're paying every time somebody clicks on to that link. So if you're using Google, you type in your search term, you're either going to find some page that people have naturally voted for because of getting links to their page, or you're going to find a page that somebody is paying that want you to see based on the term that you typed in. So in short, if you want to get your name out there, if you're publishing a website, make sure you have some links coming in, and if you want to shortcut the entire process, go ahead and sign up for Google AdWords and pay for your sponsor results and pay for your links coming in.
Thank you, Vladimir. I know we believe Google has arrived when we've heard link juice used in